Yeah, I'm always like, what is the least amount of effort I could possibly put into having food in my body?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That is Eric over there.
Hello.
And that is Vanessa over there.
Hello.
And I am Kelly. Boy, big news, guys. Kathleen Kennedy retiring.
Oh, that's
Okay.
From Lucasfilm.
yeah.
Been running it for 15 years.
So do we know who's gonna take over?
Well, that's what's so interesting.
Oh.
Okay.
Three names being bandied about.
Uh-oh.
Dave Filoni, of course, who's
Done.
basically Lucas's right-hand man for all of this stuff.
Uh-huh.
Kevin Feige
Oh.
from Marvel.
Okay.
And then the one that blew my mind, they're talking about possibly Jon Favreau coming in and running
Whoa.
Lucasfilm. And all I could think was, holy cow, what a story this guy has had. You know,
Yeah, no
just
shit.
little indie filmmaker with swingers. And then,
Where he played the dork and all that.
yeah,
He played a
30
cool
years
guy.
later, possibly running Lucasfilm.
That is insane.
He's done enough interesting things, like with Iron Man and the stuff
Sure.
he's done with properties that needed help. And
Yeah.
I think that's a good choice.
I mean, that would be my pick would be, I'd like it to be him because I think he's young and not so much of a fanboy that
Yeah.
he can't look at stuff and go, maybe not. I think Dave Filoni is way too much of a fanboy.
I think Kevin Feige is just overwhelmed and overworked already. Like, it feels like he can't help the things he's supposed to be helping as it is. So
Yeah, I have a feeling. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy certainly had been taking her lumps over some of the decisions she made with Star Wars, and Kevin Feige is kind of in the same spot.
yeah, I think you're around long enough, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I figured you're going to say James Gunn.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Just give everything to James
That's
Gunn. He can be the Elon Musk of the entertainment world.
Oh God, no! Oh no! I don't. I just want it all burned down.
I just thought it was pretty big news.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy been around for a long fucking time. I mean, 15 years running Lucasfilm, and then 30 years before that being involved in everything.
Yeah.
You know, Indiana Jones and Indian in the Cupboard and all of that stuff.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, I think I'm just still caught up in the news that Michelle Trachtenberg died, and I was like, wait, what? And I know Gene Hackman died, but he was old.
He was 95.
Yeah. But Michelle Trachtenberg, I was like, wait a minute, you're the kid sister in Buffy. What? How did you die?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Very weird.
Yeah, well, they say it comes in threes, and so then it was Gene. I mean, that's only notable because it's a confusing situation that we're
Yeah.
still trying to figure out what happened.
What happened there?
It would be okay if he had just fallen and died because he's 95.
Right.
But then to have the wife also be dead and the dog.
Yeah. Very weird.
Oh, I hadn't heard about
The
this.
dog in the closet or something like that.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah. So
Weird.
very strange. Carbon monoxide is what I'm hoping, and not something.
Suicide
The rapture.
things.
He
Yeah.
only came and took them three.
Sorry,
But then-
folks. This is the only group.
They're the only ones who did good.
But then David Johansen, Buster Poindexter. He'd been very sick for a while, and
Oh wow.
he passed away. Singer of the New York Dolls.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Sorry. Sounds vaguely familiar.
He was the taxi ghost in Scrooged.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There's something
Anyway.
at least. Found a place.
Wow.
Look, I'm not great with every piece of knowledge, you know? Some got to slip through.
Joseph Wambaugh, he passed too. One of my favorite writers
Oh,
for
okay.
gritty cop stories.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have
Shit,
done
that's 4.
some just in case David Johansen wasn't a big enough name and Wambau's not a big enough name, they combined to be the
Together, okay.
third.
Gotcha.
Also 60,000 people we don't know also died yesterday, so
True. At
I was
least.
like, my first thought was like, was there an earthquake? And then I was like, oh, you mean like just in
Just in
general,
general.
on Earth?
General, yeah.
Okay. Whew. Man, I mean, I haven't been watching the news. So
this, you know what? This is a great way to go through life, by the way.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
To not pay attention to the fear mongering.
I can't. Yeah.
Speaking of horrible things, I did a complete rewatch of the series Hannibal, which is on
Oh
Shudder.
my gosh, I've been very slowly watching it. How did it treat you?
I fucking am back to thinking it's the greatest television show ever made.
My only hesitation still with that is you haven't watched like 2 or 3 of what
Fuck
people
you.
consider are the
Why would
greatest
you want to
shows
step
ever
on
made.
me getting a little bit of joy?
I think it's awesome.
You're a cunt.
No, it's the best one for you. And I think that's great.
It is the best one. I just really upset again because the last 4 episodes of the final season is a adaptation of the book Red Dragon. And it's so much better than Manhunter or Red Dragon was. And
Oh,
I'm just like,
gosh.
God damn it, you guys. Because the 4th season was then supposed to be Silence of the Lambs.
Oh,
and it got canceled. And I'm like, motherfucker, this show is
I am
just so good.
so amazed that did not. I mean, maybe a few years later would have happened, but it didn't get like
Picked up by Netflix
Paramount
or
or
something.
Netflix or somebody didn't come in and go, we're going to at least do this Silence of the Lambs
Yeah,
season.
yeah. Or even I'll take a remake of the film with Hugh Dancy
that
and
group,
Mads
yeah.
Mikkelsen.
That would have been cool.
Actually, it wouldn't have been Hugh Dancy because by that time Will is out of the story, and we have the young female agent whose name I can't remember. Starling. Clarice. But yeah, that's on Shudder, and
Oh, wow.
it's great. I mean, it's just amazing to watch it without commercial breaks and all that stuff.
Nice.
Hannibal.
nice. Wow. Well, gotta keep. I keep forgetting that I started watching that, and I need to get back into it. But it's so dark. It's really hard in modern times to sit down and watch.
It is really dark, and it's all about mental illness and all that stuff. It is like, really.
100%. 100%. Well, I've been watching Severance, which I continue to just love this show. It's so wild and confusing and strange. And for every answer, you get 5 more questions, which I'm starting to see on the internets people getting really mad about. They're like, fucking show just keeps being weird. Don't like it anymore. I'm like, man, welcome to science fiction. I embrace you with open arms.
I'm seeing in this season a lot of David Lynch DNA,
Sure, yeah.
and
yeah.
I'm very confused, but I'm enjoying it. And what is your thought? So when they went on their camping trip, they were somehow still in their innies minds,
Yeah.
which is in a place, I assume. But
I'm starting to think from this season that there is no place.
that's what I was wondering. Is it
Yeah.
all in their head?
I think it's all in their head. I think they're just like going in the elevator and being like, ending up in a chair or something. It feels like they're not actually, because they're in the place they're in is like liminal space. It just goes on forever. It has all these floors. It's so strange with like the rooms with the goats. And
Yeah.
I just feel more and more like they are just being programmed into any space, anytime, anywhere by these people.
Yeah.
And I don't understand, like, of course, like what is Project Cold Water or whatever the hell
Right.
it is. But I don't know. I just feel like this season we're seeing a lot more of what this space can do, and things like that field trip really put into question.
Right.
Yeah. Did you see the most recent episode as well with
his
his
wife?
wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of spaces in there too that I'm like, okay. I don't know how you're at, like in this place out in the middle of a snowy environment.
Yeah,
So-
it's a mind fuck of a show.
Yeah.
Did you see that it has dethroned Ted Lasso as the most watched
Oh, wow.
Apple series, which is
Whoa.
still
Still,
not very
yeah.
watched.
No, it's true. But it gives them, incentive to keep pushing forward because I really want them to keep making this show. And I think that there was enough troubles that there's part of me that worries that this will just be the last season somehow. But
Well, I think the worry is legit because it costs $20 million per episode.
whoa.
So it's a $200 million season.
Whoa.
That's a lot of money to not get back.
Well,
Yeah.
Apple is one of the top 3 most profitable companies on planet Earth. They're fine. That's pocket change. I mean,
But I think
I don't think Apple at all, like Apple TV Plus is at all profitable. There's no way.
It doesn't seem like it can be.
It can't. They can't be making Martin Scorsese, Oscar nominated pictures just for shits and giggles and throwing it on their service and be making any money on that.
Yeah.
Who knows? 'Cause, streaming revenue is so friggin' hard to.
Well,
nail
yeah,
down
they said,
sometimes.
That's
it
true.
is the most watched show on Apple TV. And so I looked it up and it was like 3.6 million viewers.
Wow. Holy
And
shit.
I was like, that's not a lot.
No, wow.
That means each
Jesus.
person has to have spent how much money to make up for the budget just of this show alone.
Oh, wow.
Each
that-
person
yeah.
would have had to spend what, $4? Is that right? Maybe more.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is a great series. Like always, I can't wait for every series I like to be canceled so that I no longer have to watch television at all.
Or they don't, turn into Lost or something like that, where they just lose their way.
Right.
And it's like, oh, come on, come back.
Yeah, I feel like I need TV. I just need, because even that brain power, you're like, man, I want all that time back. I'm so tired at the end of the day. I'm not going to do anything interesting at that point. I'm not going to write the great American novel between 9 p.m. and midnight. There's just no way. I can barely sit on the couch. My brain's not functional anymore,
Absorb
guys.
the monkey.
Yeah, if we were back in the day before internet, I'd still be, or even power, I'd be making a fire and stoking it all night. I wouldn't be doing anything. I wouldn't be doing anything cool with my time. So it's fine to watch
That's
some
fair.
TV.
That's fair. All righty. So I watched another thing in the line of avoiding serious stuff. A documentary came out on Netflix this year. We Beat the Dream Team.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know and are young enough, that in the early 90s, the Olympics said that you can use pro people to play your basketball. So they put together, arguably, well, not very arguably, the greatest basketball team ever assembled. If there's a famous basketball player from the late 80s, early 90s, they were on this team.
Huh.
And they to practice with them, they went out and assembled what probably would have gone to the Olympics with the best college players, because that's who went to the Olympics all the times before this. I'm not a huge basketball guy since the Sonics got butt fucked by the NBA. I haven't
Yep.
watched a lot of it.
Yep.
But these guys start coming out that are playing them going, holy shit, these are all NBA level players. At least one of them's an NBA Hall of Famer now. And everybody on this college team went on to play in the NBA at a high level. But the first skirmish ever played between them and the NBA, they beat them. They beat the Dream
Whoa.
Team. And from the look of it, they beat legitimately. And it was, there's a little controversy and stuff saying, well, this was one of the greatest NBA coaches. Did he kind of set them up to lose so they wouldn't get overconfident? Who knows? And there's one tape in existence of this game. One guy had a camera who videotaped the whole thing, and that's what they used to show. And it's like when all the press came in afterwards, they'd erased the scores off the board. Everything was gone, indicating that they had lost.
Whoa.
Nobody talked about that they had lost.
Whoa.
It was really, really interesting. And Grant Hill's one of the main guys in it, and his presentation and the way these guys talk, and watching them talk about beating Jordan and Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and all these legends was really cool. And then, of course, if you've watched Larry Bird or Magic Johnson's, it's Michael Jordan's documentary, you know what he did the next day when he gets pissed off if somebody annoys him. He came out and destroyed them.
Oh.
But it was really fun and just a entertaining way to watch a interesting story about sports, because at the time, as you remember, maybe just a little too young for you, but this was a massive story. The Dream Team was huge.
Yeah.
McDonald's cups and all that shit were being made about them. And so, but I never heard this before.
Yeah, that's super interesting. It's called We Beat the Dream Team, and it's on where?
Netflix.
Netflix?
Yeah.
I might be watching
Oh,
that
no,
tonight.
sorry, Max.
Oh, Max.
On
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Max has all of the basketball documentaries.
Yeah.
Basketball is a sport I hate, and I'm fascinated by all the documentaries.
Yeah, so like that was a TV show, The Lakers.
Winning Time, yeah.
Yeah, that was phenomenal.
great. And then that made me watch the Magic Johnson and Larry Bird documentary and all of this. I'm super interested in the people and not in the
Yeah.
game at all.
Yeah.
To get burned by anybody who's currently a lover of the NBA, there's rumors the Sonics are coming back. It probably will happen in the next few years. So I started watching some NBA games going, well, it would be nice to have the Sonics back, I guess. And then watching these guys play, like, now that's the NBA I remember, because the NBA now is basically three-point shots and running up and down, no defense. It's just kind of boring. But I'm watching these guys play, and they're running into each other and knocking each other around and going. It's like, yeah, I can watch that.
Nice.
So
Wow. Very cool.
Okay, well, the third season of Yellowjackets has started.
Oh, yeah, it has. I have not seen it.
You haven't seen it.
No.
So there are 3 or 4 episodes in by now, and I gotta say, I don't know if I like it.
Really?
Yeah,
this is what we were just talking about, man.
I'm losing interest in it because they're not explaining anything, and after a while, you're like, I want to know something.
Yeah.
So the characters are still very interesting. The acting is great, but this one just doesn't have that magic that the first 2 seasons had.
Man. Yeah, that's too bad. I didn't even finish the second season. I need to do that, but it's tough. I feel like those shows, it's that Lost phenomena. It's like they just keep making it. It's like, all right, each episode should have a purpose and be impactful and be furthering the story in a way that's keeping you interested, by the very least.
Remember when the first season came out and everyone was talking about it, and the creators basically said, we pitched them a 5-year story, and they basically said, yes, we want it all. I'm like, okay, so I assume you guys know where this is going and how it's going to end, but it feels a little lost right now. So not lost as in the series,
Yeah,
but
sure.
like the story has kind of lost its way.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's too bad, man.
So I don't know. Eric, have you watched any of it?
No, not the new one. No,
But I mean,
I watched the
original-
first season. I don't think I watched too much of the second season.
Okay.
So
Yeah, okay. Well, Yellowjackets is on Showtime.
If you want a free subscription and then to cancel, I'm sure just do it in a couple more weeks.
it also bundles at a pretty good rate with Paramount Plus.
Oh,
I don't remember what
okay.
that amount is, but
Yeah.
it seems like
It's-
it is really a good price.
It's a streamer that I watch very little on. In fact,
Showtime?
I think Yellowjackets is about the only thing I watch
yeah.
on it.
Yeah. That's why I think I canceled my MGM because it was literally
Yeah.
just from.
Right.
I was like, all right, I'm done here. All right, you guys got my money and bye.
I'll pay for another month if you do another season. Wait till it's all out. Get a month. Watch it all. Cancel again. Yeah.
Well, I've got a friend who was really, really not into horror at all. And she avoided it like the plague. She won't do any of the haunted houses. Like Halloween wigs are out unless it's like Disney oriented. And she has taken a deep dive into the world of horror in the last year. So... So every Thursday, we've started watching various horror films with her and her
wow.
husband. And she chose this week to watch Pan's Labyrinth,
Oh, jeez.
which I have not seen in a long time. I'm not even sure if I've seen it. I must have seen it all the way through at least once. But that movie is beautiful. It's really depressing. And there's
Yeah.
a lot less monster time than I remembered. I thought the guy with like the eye hands was going to be like
Doug Jones.
was going to be on it a lot longer.
Yeah. Well,
No, indeed. But you can see through some of the main fascist character and stuff, like that recurring type
Yeah.
archetype within
I saw that one in the theater and still
With me.
Yeah, that's right. I still remember that knife scene. Just that real.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening. Suddenly, wham! I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So that's. But yeah, I don't. It's been. I haven't seen it since then.
I don't think I have either. I remember we walked out going, boy, what? That's a downer.
Yeah. Yes. Powerful, but.
Yeah, definitely like an interesting sort of little historical, like I'm always really fascinated by these big moments in countries that you feel like you haven't heard much about.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait, who's the leader in like Spain during World War II? And like, wait, what was going on? But yeah, just a neat little story. I'm glad I watched it. I'm still trying to figure out how big of a fan I am of Guillermo del Toro, because I thought I was a big fan, and now I'm like, I don't know. He's got a cool style. I want him to keep doing it. I just don't know.
And I think he's amazing. He does amazing films. Don't always like his movies, but I like what he does with them.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
No, totally. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
But
Looking forward to his Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Oh,
he
that's
sure
right.
loves it. So hopefully it'll be a huge hit, and then
Yeah.
he can do his In the Mouth of Madness.
Mountains of Madness.
Mountains of Madness.
Oh, I was like, wait,
In the
what?
Mouth of Madness. He's redoing
Hold on.
John Carpenter.
Holy smokes. That's going to be interesting.
I watched an okay one, decent film, on AMC Plus.
Excellent.
But Getaway with Nick Frost.
Oh.
And?
It's fun. If it wasn't for Nick Frost and I think it's Aisling Bay, who plays his wife in the movie, what they do and their performances elevate the hell out of a fairly basic film.
Remind me what this is about?
A family's vacation to a remote getaway takes an unexpected turn when they discover an island inhabited by a serial killer.
Oh, okay.
And it's fun. It's funny. It's a
Oh, is
horror
it supposed
comedy.
to be funny? Okay.
Yeah, which is part of why Nick Frost works so well in it.
Yeah.
Their performances make it really worth watching. The movie itself is fine, and some of the stuff that happens is like, oh, I am surprised. But yeah, Nick Frost fans, a definite watch.
Okay.
Cool.
Getaway. What's that on? AMC Plus?
Yeah, there are probably something else by now, Prime or.
I keep seeing the poster, and that is not what I thought the movie was based on the poster.
Yeah, you can see that. It's kind of
It's tough because it sounds like a heist
Yeah.
film just from The Getaway, but then it's
yeah.
getting away
right. They're
on a vacation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Going
Is
to
that,
this
is that
island.
2 words then?
Yeah.
Okay. I know. I need to know that. Why don't we take a little break, guys? And then when we come back, we're going to be talking about robots.
In disguise. Not that.
No.
I've been thinking about getting a cat.
When you do, you have to get a litter robot. I love it.
Litter robot?
Yeah. It's a smart litter box that doesn't smell like one, and it automatically does the scooping.
Litter robot.
Yeah. And I don't even have to think about it until the app notifies me it's time to remove the waste bag.
Hey, Litter Robot, order me a pizza.
Not everything can be as smart as Litter Robot. Say hey to Litter Robot and goodbye to scooping. The smart appliance that helps without asking.
All right, we have returned. We are talking about robots. This was my subgenre, so I'm going to go first.
All right.
And I was actually recommended this movie by Vanessa.
Yes.
I am choosing from 1987, Batteries Not Included.
The residents of 817 East 8th Street are about to lose everything they have.
What do you mean those tenants are still in there?
Tonight. I'll have them out by tonight.
Nothing in this world can save them. Nothing but a miracle. Steven Spielberg presents a Matthew Robbins film.
Welcome to America.
ships.
From a very small planet.
Very small.
This is history. Machines that reproduce themselves.
I like being a family again.
What the hell is that?
It's them, the little guys.
I don't know how you got here or why you picked us.
Somebody's helping them. Somebody's bringing them together.
Is that why you're here?
Batteries not included.
This was directed by Matthew Robbins, who did, Eric, Corvette Summer,
Oh, shit.
Dragon Slayer,
Oh,
The Legend of Billie Jean,
oh, shit.
and it was written by him and Brad Bird. Brad Bird wrote The Incredibles 1 and 2, Ratatouille, Tomorrowland. Matthew Robbins also wrote Mimic, speaking of Del Toro, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, and Crimson Peak.
Oh,
Crap.
Also, Mick Garris is given a writer's credit, or a stories credit. He did, of course, Critters 2, Hocus Pocus, The Fly 2. If you listen to his podcast, he claims that he is the writer of this. So,
whoa.
yeah, he only has a story credit on this.
Huh.
It's starring Hume Cronin, who was in Brewster's Millions, Cocoon, 12 Angry Men, and Jessica Tandy, his real-life wife, who was in The Birds, Driving Miss Daisy, Fried Green Tomatoes. Frank McRae is in this. He was in Red Dawn, License to Kill, and Loaded Weapon, and also Elizabeth Pena, Michael Carmine, and John Pankow. Eric, have you seen Batteries Not
I
Included?
have not. And I'm surprised I haven't, listening to that list of creative people.
Well, I'll just say this. This movie is a fucking nightmare, and I'm treating this suggestion from Vanessa as a hostile action.
Oh, no.
So, we start in New York
Alrighty.
City's East Village, where several blocks of a rundown neighborhood are being demolished to build a high-rise office tower and sports complex. However, in the middle of all this rubble and construction and teardown is one 4-story building with several residents who either can't move out because they're broke or won't move out because they're old and can't imagine ever living anywhere else. By the way, the developer is offering them money to move out of this shithole. And they're like, no, we love this crime-ridden neighborhood. On the ground floor of this building is a small diner, and it's run by an elderly couple who live in the building, Frank and his wife, Faye, who has Alzheimer's or dementia, some kind of generic old person disease. Meanwhile, the developer has hired a gang of small-time thugs to gently rough up the old people, but also destroy their diner and their apartments so that they are forced to leave. One night, the building is visited by 2 robots who are maybe aliens? Never explained, and you'll not really want to know. But in exchange for plugging into the building's power outlets, these tiny robots, which are quite adorable, start fixing the damage done to the building. At first, only Faye sees them, but she's crazy, right? So no one believes her, but pretty soon all of the residents have seen the robots and have come to love them and have 0 questions about what or why any of this is happening. These residents include starving artist Mason, who looks uncomfortably like a young Mark Maron, and pregnant single Latina Marissa, and even retired boxer Harry Noble. So this gang of thugs, they don't like seeing things getting fixed, and they don't understand it, so they're ramping up their activities against the residents, but they can't put a damper on the sheer joy of the people in the building. Why? Mason and Marissa are falling in love, and the diner has never had more customers, especially with these little robots helping out. How can 2 robots do all this work, you wonder? They can't, but that's okay because one of the robots is pregnant. And she gives birth to 2 other little robots, which are immediately put into slave labor for the residents of this building. Also, to make matters even more fucking uncomfortable, the robot gave birth to a 3rd baby robot, but it was stillborn.
Oh.
So
Jesus.
Harry, the boxer, who is a little addled from one too many blows to the head, steals the dead baby robot from the planter it was buried in to his apartment and is able to bring it back to life. Vanessa, holy fuck. There are so many distressing things going on in this movie, and I can't imagine any kid sitting through it, especially the first act, which is just a bunch of elderly people complaining about going to an old folks home, and especially Faye, who has dementia and can't come to grips with the death of her young adult son several years back. This movie is fucking a nightmare. There's also an arsonist who shows up and has a fairly elaborate plan with gas fumes and balloons or something in the basement of this building and shit like this, and I was fucking stressed. Fucking garbage. I hated it. Never watched this film. This is awful. Tagline: 5 ordinary people needed a miracle. Then one night, Fay Riley left the window open. Trivia. Originally intended to be a story featured in the TV series Amazing Stories, Steven Spielberg liked the idea so much he decided to make it a theatrical release instead. A horror film was going to be titled Batteries Not Included, but was forced to change its name when this film was being written. That movie? Child's Play.
Oh.
In Harry Noble's backstory, he is a former professional boxer who retired after suffering brain damage, became a reclusive handyman, and turned to a nonviolent philosophy. Never explained that in the movie. In the backstory behind the death of Bobby Riley, Faye and Frank's son, Frank didn't get along so well with Bobby and would frequently lose his temper with the boy. Bobby, fed up with Frank losing his temper and making him feel like he's not good enough, bought himself a car and planned to run away. But in a tragic, senseless moment, as Bobby drove off in his new car, he crashed and was killed instantly.
Oh my God.
What the fuck, Vanessa?
Had you seen this film before?
Yeah, but I was like 8.
Oh.
I don't even know how an 8-year-old could keep the attention span of
I think I really liked the little robots.
The little robots are cute.
Yeah, I think that's all I was really focused on.
But that's 30 minutes into the movie when they show up.
Oh,
you
wow.
have to deal with these old people. And I'm like, oh my God. If I was a kid, I would first of all be bored.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't understand why
rent control and all that kind of stuff.
Why all of this shit is going on.
Sure.
But also then I'd start being like, Jesus Christ, this is some depressing shit. You know? When do the robots show up?
Look, in my defense, I was planning on watching this one and you sounded interested. So I was like, all right, why don't you check it out? Because I haven't seen it since I was like 8.
I want you to watch it now.
Maybe
get back to me.
Maybe I will. I don't know if I'll be able to handle the stillbirth scene. That sounds like really rough. I might cry a lot.
A little battery.
When this little stillborn robot shows up, I'm like, what the fuck?
His battery wasn't included.
Oh.
This is where the line from the movie comes out, because Mason, the artist, when this dead robot shows up, says very sadly, battery's not included.
Oh no.
Hence the title.
Oh my God.
Good Lord.
Oh no. I'm so sorry.
Quick, start talking about your...
It was worth it just for the review though, I will say.
Yeah, that's true.
Vanessa.
I see it in all caps just over out of the corner of my eye. It's great. Wow. Well, I went with 1999's Iron Giant.
You're 9 years old. You're watching TV.
Darn. A perfectly good brain wasted.
When all of a sudden,
Stupid antenna.
you go to investigate. Your conclusion?
Invaders from Mars.
You do what any kid would do. You go looking for trouble. And sure enough, it finds you. Giant.
I don't think I've actually seen it. So
Also distressing, but a much better film.
yes, I watched the signature edition, which includes 2 additional scenes and swaps out a commercial that's playing in the background to include Tomorrowland. This was a budget of $50 million, box office of 31.7.
Oh no.
Wah, wah.
Well, if it helps, it was a massive hit on video.
Yeah,
Huge.
I think it made up for it since, but at the time it was seen as a huge failure. Writer-director Brad Bird, who wrote on The Incredibles, Ratatouille, Batteries Not Included, and Tomorrowland.
Whoa.
Directed Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, among some of those others. Starring Vin Diesel as the Iron Giant, who we know from Fast and Furious, Guardians of the Galaxy, Triple X, and Riddick. Eli Marienthal plays the voice of the little boy who grows up to be Stifler's brother in American Pie films. So really didn't have much of a career. Harry Connick Jr. plays Dean. He was in Hope Floats, Independence Day, Will and Grace, and lots of music, including the soundtrack for Harry Met Sally. Jennifer Aniston plays the mom. She was in 235 episodes of Friends as Rachel Green. Christopher McDonald, he plays Kent Mansley. You recognize his face because he's in 228 things, but you're like, but from what? Thelma and Louise, Happy Gilmore, Requiem for a Dream, among many others. And John Mahoney plays the General Raggard, 263 episodes as Martin Crane in Frasier. I don't care about the rest because I love that man in that show. Story follows in 1957, Maine. A sailor is caught out at sea in a giant storm. He calls for Mayday and thinks he sees a lighthouse, but instead it is a giant robot that has crash landed on Earth. His ship hits it and is torn apart, but he is placed gently back on land. Meanwhile, Hogarth, a precocious little boy, visits his mom, who's working at a local diner, with his newfound pet, a squirrel, because he likes to take things and take them in and show them a special care. I wonder if that'll come in later. It escapes in the diner and goes up the leg of the local cool artist, scrap metal shop owner / beatnik, Dean. They overhear the sailor and talking about his story about the giant robot. And of course, Hogarth, whose imagination is very immense, goes a little wild and wants to find the robot. That night, his mom has to work late, and Hogarth stays up eating snacks and watching horror films on TV. When the power goes out, he wants to figure out what's going on, and he discovers that his yard is torn asunder, which his mom never really notices later, but that's okay. Everything is fucked up. He follows a path that leads into the woods and discovers a giant metal man who is all wound up in the power station and is being electrocuted. Hogarth turns off the power switch and saves the robot. And of course, the robot and him then become fast friends. Hogarth tries to teach him about keeping out of sight and not killing everyone, also not eating train tracks, and also, again, not killing everyone. He loops Dean into his sort of shenanigans because Dean has a great supply of food for the robot in his scrap yard. Meanwhile, government agents arrive along with the Kent Mansley, who's leading the investigation. He's determined to uncover what happened to this town and send the army after the giant. This was a really good film. It has solid writing. It's super fun moments for each character. There's a point in which the robot is, he can become dismantled. His hand is running around the inside of the little kid's house, and he's trying to prevent his mom from seeing it. And so they're sitting down to dinner, and he starts saying a very elaborate prayer and keeps saying, like, "Get out of here, Satan." It's very, very cool. I really just love all of these little moments that they sprinkle in there. However, I would say that there's some pacing issues in here. There were some really powerful beats that didn't quite hit home for me because it felt just a little off. I think that if this film was made today, I probably would have cried like 8 times in it. I kind of almost cried once in it, but you know. I have so much more. I'm sorry. The animation looks pretty good, but it's very Don Bluth, I will say. I love the robot. He looks great. He's just so likable in his animation and his you can just see so much through his eyes, even though he doesn't talk until probably about halfway through the film. This originated from the book The Iron Man from 1968 by poet Ted Hughes, who wrote the novel for his children to comfort them in the wake of their mother, Sylvia Plath's suicide. Ted Hughes died before the film's release, but his daughter Frida saw it and loved it. The family's last name is featured in the film. The 1980 rock musician Pete Townsend chose to adapt the book for a concert album. It was released as The Iron Man, a musical in 1989. And then in 1991, Richard Basley, who later became the film's lead animator, pitched a version of The Iron Man to Don Bluth, who turned it down. In late 1996, while developing a project, the studio saw this film as a perfect vehicle for Brad Bird because they wanted to launch him, which I think is crazy because I'm like, how do studios do this? That's not even a thing anymore. At the time, he was working for Turner Feature Animation and developing a film called Ray Gun, which I'm not sure ever saw the light of day. In Bird's original version, America and the USSR were at war and the giant dies. Tim McCanlies was hired to write the script and said to him, "You can't kill E.T. and not bring him back." He was inspired to make this film as a memorial to his sister Susan, Brad Bird was, who died at the hands of her estranged husband by gun violence.
Do you want to start another 5 minutes here?
Sorry, I'm almost done. His pitch was, what if a gun had a soul and didn't want to be a gun? So there you go. The film probably failed because it was not advertised hardly at all, and it came out the same weekend as The Sixth Sense. So
yeah, I was still at Suncoast when this came out, and it was huge. It was a huge release, so it did quite well.
That's great. That's really good to hear because it was really depressing reading about like all the ways it got fucked from its like normally you'd do like cups and you'd have like a year out in advance. You'd have like toys and all this.
Oh yeah,
tie-in
especially for
stuff.
a show like animated feature.
Yeah, and it was literally 4 months ahead. The studio kept wavering back and forth on when it was going to come out. They like only found out at the last minute, and then there was like a poster that got released, and that was pretty much it. So
wow, this is a kind of adorable movie.
It is. It's a super adorable movie. Yeah, it has some really interesting, strong lines in it. Like they all think they're going to die from a nuclear attack at one point, and they're like, well, there's no point in running. We're all just going to die.
Yeah.
So there's a lot
Let's
of
go
that.
to a condensed, highly populated area and make sure we're not surviving for 7 days afterwards.
Exactly. Exactly.
All righty.
Eric, you want to go?
Yes, yeah. I'll go here.
5 minutes.
Also,
or 10 minutes, depending.
If you like.
Sorry.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'll do better.
Also, a fully animated film. The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Oh, yeah.
Katie used to be my little buddy. We'd go on nature hikes and skip rocks.
Slow down there, killer.
Are you excited for camp?
Don't make me go.
We used to be so connected.
Hey, Dad, smile.
You know, you could experience things a whole lot better without that camera.
Dad, this is how I experience things.
I don't think...
Yes, tomorrow I'm finally leaving for college. But in the meantime, I made you guys this goodbye video.
You know what? This is our last night together. How about we make 10 seconds
of family eye contact?
Starting. Put your phone down. Now. No, you're allowed to blink. It's just eye contact.
Ugh, finally.
No screens at the table. Lynn, why are you kicking me? I don't understand.
I'm just gonna...
No, look, I'll watch it.
Dad, it's too late.
Look, I want to watch it.
Dad, this is exactly why I'm excited to leave tomorrow.
Katie.
I know you can fix this.
Why do you need all that to take me to the airport?
I canceled your plane ticket to college. We are going to drive you to school on a cross-country road trip as a family. Behold.
And now I present tricking Rick Mitchell into kissing the dog.
Dang it, Katie! Dang it, Katie!
Hey, Dad, can you check the trunk?
Yeah, sure. Dang it, Katie! Hey, kids, there's supposed to be some great hikes around here.
Just a sec, Dad.
We hear a pal about to drop our biggest invention yet.
Meet the Helper Bot. We promise you they will never, ever turn evil.
Mom, what is that?
Greetings, humans.
Technology rising up.
Sayonara.
Robots roaming the streets.
What is this strange creature? Dog, pig, loaf of bread.
The Mitchells have always been weird.
No time to wash your hands.
Don't worry, I never do.
That's what makes us great.
That's my girl!
And we just might be weird enough to save the world.
All right, hands in. Oh, he licked my tongue.
From 2021. It's a Netflix release, or you can rent it if you're not a Netflixer. Directed by Michael Rionda, who's done 2 short films, and Jeff Rowe, who you might know from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah.
So 2 directors on this. Written by Michael Rionda, who wrote Gravity Falls and a bunch of shorts. Jeff Rowe, who wrote Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem and Gravity Falls. And Peter Sisley, who wrote a couple TV episodes. So, not a deep well of history for the filmmakers in this one. Actor Abby Jacobson, who did 50 episodes of Disenchantment, 50 episodes of Broad City. Danny McBride from The Righteous Gemstones, 27 episodes and going. Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, and much better, Vice Principals. Maya Rudolph, 167 episodes of SNL, Bridesmaids, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah.
Plus a lot of other people like Fred Armisen, Doug the Pug, Conan O'Brien. The dog in this was voiced by an actual dog.
That's crazy.
The whole idea of the movie is it starts with a teenage daughter who's a filmmaker. So, that's nice. Making movies. Her father doesn't understand her at all. He's a complete Luddite. He barely can use a computer. And they are, of course, not getting along. She's getting ready to go to college. Her little brother's great. She enjoys him. They get along really well. It's a dinosaur lover. The father decides they need to bond. So in a move surely not to piss off his teenage daughter, he cancels her flight to cross the country to go to the film school for the introduction week where everybody gets to meet all the new friends she's been making online and all the people she's looking forward to meeting, and they're going to drive. So she's thrilled. The road trip then is upended because a super mogul tech guy releases an update to kind of, the things we talk to on our phones, depending on what kind of phone you've got, and insults the prior one, who then proceeds to take over all of the robots that he is releasing and starts collecting people around the world in these little pods. I will throw out a real huge story problem I had with this. In order to get everybody upset, she disconnects all the Wi-Fi. I'm like, well, how are you communicating with all your robots and shit? How are you doing a worldwide thing when you've destroyed all? Anyways, but the family accidentally kills some of the or destroys some of the robots and figure out a weird way of, we're going to band together and go against this. I gotta say, this is actually a lot of fun, except for one big problem. This is a 2-hour cartoon.
Yeah.
And it would have been so good with about half an hour shaved out of it. Because when it's good, it's a lot of fun. But it has like 3, feels like we're ramping up to the end parts. One of them early enough that it's not. But the next couple are far enough along you're going, oh, this isn't the ending. So that hurts it a lot. A whole lot. Of what I think would have been a really fun, silly animated movie about stopping the end of the world. But the tagline, prepare to get weird because the world depends on it. Okay. It was originally titled Mitchells versus the Machine, then changed to Connected. But Netflix bought it and thought, we're going back to the Mitchells and the Machines. I mentioned Monchi the dog was originally going to be a voice actor, but instead they brought in Doug the Pug, and the dog is actually
that dog makes a lot of moolah.
Let's see. Sony Animation's first Netflix exclusive film, for what that's worth. It was going to get a theatrical release in 2020. Didn't. Delayed several times, and then finally just came to Netflix a couple years. But it's fun. It was a fun little thing. It sounds like you've seen it too.
Yeah, I thought it was really cute and too long.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised. I did not realize it was a Netflix original.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it one. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Sony, so you've seen their animation plenty of times. But yeah, the voice acting's fun. The comedy works, but yeah, it's just like, come on, let's stop this.
I think this did well enough. Is there a sequel or a sequel planned or
I
something
didn't
like that?
see anything about it, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's
Okay.
a moderately successful animated thing. Of course, it's on Netflix, so who the hell knows?
Right.
If Netflix wants to do a sequel.
Well, it sounds like both of you guys had good movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 2 out of 3 this time, I guess.
Don't give me such a look. Come on. It's always a gamble.
It sure is.
So to say, no, you do batteries not included. I'll do the Iron Shine or something else.
I can't remember what I got on that made me think I wanted to talk about robots. I think it was seeing our buddy Joe Sherlock had posted like a picture of a fembot or something from his movie, and I was like, I want to do something about robots, and I'm gonna find something fun and wacky like that. And, oh boy, fail.
Well, it's not the robot's fault.
That's true. There you go.
Eric, I hate to put you on the spot, but you have the next
I
pick.
do. I've got a wide-ranging idea that I'm going to expand for your sake. But I'm thinking, how about movies Stephen King related? Not based necessarily on Stephen King, because I'm sure there's not a lot of those you haven't seen. But something like, maybe he talked about it in Dance Macabre or something like that. Or a Stephen King Presents film, which I think we mentioned last week sometimes was not so great, but also sometimes pretty damn good.
Can it be a adaptation?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my question too.
So it's the other ones are just to expand a little bit, because I have a feeling you've seen a lot of Stephen King films.
Probably all of them. Except for the monkey.
Hey, well, there you go. Now's your chance.
I like this idea very much.
Cool.
Okay, well then that brings us to the end of the show. That means we're thanking everybody for being out there and supporting us in whatever way you can, whether that means you're liking and sharing posts, sharing when the episode goes up, word of mouth telling your friends that, hey, here's a show I like. If you're out there on the Strange Eons Radio Talk page on Facebook, you're interacting with us right there. We really appreciate that. If you're commenting on the YouTube, that's always very helpful. If you're calling in or texting in to the Strange Eons Radio hotline, which is 253-237-4266, and really especially if you're donating money. We appreciate that. We use it to buy equipment.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, and as far as the getting a hold of us, if you don't want to do a voicemail, you can text. Plus, there's even if you go to that link I put up every week to the BuzzFeed or Buzzsprout thing, at the top of that, if you go to it, there's a send us a text link.
Oh.
That'll automatically just send that. I think it goes to a different source than that, but you can text through either way.
That's fantastic. So this number here we've had forever. I just assumed it was like a second line or something that you had.
No, it's a Google phone.
Oh,
so
interesting.
it's a fully functioning thing. Somehow that number I used, I guess, when I ordered something for Vinegar Syndrome, because now whenever I order something from them, the text comes through for this. Like, okay, so I know we can get texts through there.
Well,
Excellent.
so if you do text there, tell us who you are, because it's probably just going to show up as a number to us.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah, definitely do that.
So cool. Also, I have a book that's probably out by the time this comes
Hot
out.
damn.
It is called Thorns. It's another horror book. It's technically a novel, clocked in at over 40,000 words. So
Excellent.
What is the requirement for novel length?
The Horror Writers Association considers anything over 40,000 words a novel.
Gotcha.
But I think that in other places it's got to be 50,000 words.
Okay.
So And then if you're Stephen King, it's a minimum 100,000 words.
A door stopper.
Right.
Can it stop a door? Yes or no?
Right. Anyway, this is out on Amazon. It's also out where, you know, if you don't want to support this evil corporation, this book is available, you know. You can go to your Barnes & Noble and order it from them. You can go to your mom and pop store if you want. Whatever evil corporation you like, you can get it from.
What about your website? Is it available?
No,
Oh.
I'm not doing that shit anymore. It's fucking annoying.
Packing
as hell.
it and sending it yourself.
I mean, if you feel like you really need an autographed copy, reach out to me and we can make something happen. But otherwise, get it where you get it, and find me at Crypticon.
And there are Barnes and Nobles popping up all over the place again.
There are.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've been to any of the new ones. They're really they're very different. They're real interesting.
They're cool.
They're trying to be like a local bookstore. They pattern their whatever their stock is to the area they're in.
Oh, how cool.
So
I went to one
very nice.
yesterday with my little.
Where's
and,
that
at Bellevue Square. They just opened one.
Oh,
okay.
And it was really cool. And she ended up almost stealing a Curious George, which I paid for. But she was very enamored with. He was perfect eye height, and she just snagged him and started eating him. So
there we go.
Well, yeah, that's a good way to get mom to buy this for me.
Yep. Let me tell you, kids, if you want some shit, just lick it. Your parents will feel very obligated to purchase it.
You know, you mentioned something about the last time when you were sick, and you were like, I come up here and I lick everything. I was just like, that was a very uncomfortable thing to say. And now here you go again. Just if you want something.
Look, my life has changed a lot. I witnessed a lot of just child licking random things, and now it's normalized for me.
Okay, gang. We're coming back in 7 short days, and we are talking Stephen King or Stephen King related. See you next Thursday. Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio, produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
I'm so tired at the end of the day. I'm not going to do anything interesting at that point. I'm not going to write the great American novel between 9 p.m. and midnight.